Hello class, welcome to Ethics Through Definition lecture 1. So before starting today's class, what we will do, we will in a very brief form, we will revise what we studied in lecture 1. So as you know, lecture 1 was simply a orientation lecture. So in orientation lecture, our focus was basically on the first aspect which we saw, the first aspect we understood why ethics was introduced in UPSC in 2013. We understood the background of this paper, how the background was laid from 2008 itself, from 2008 to 2012. Okay, we saw various factors due to which it was needed that some form of ethical aspect should be introduced in UPSC examination, that is civil service, and ultimately in 2013 when notification came in 2013, it came late, but this paper was introduced. This was the first aspect which we saw in previous lecture, right? After that we saw what is importance of ethics, the role of ethics in final selection, and in that we understood how by scoring good marks in ethics, that is around 122 and 125, you can get into All India service. Okay, this was the second aspect we understood in previous lecture. Third aspect which we understood is that how ethics is very important even in our life. Ethics is important in selection also, but it is more important when it comes to day-to-day activity of our life. Okay, after that in last we saw the sources which you need to refer for ethics, right? So let's start today's lecture, that is lecture 2. Since you know that my focus will be, the approach of ethics will be through definitions, through questions. Why? Because we saw in previous lecture that is basically students, they face 4 types of problem. Okay, some students understand ethics but they have problem in writing the answer. Okay, some has very good command in answer writing, but the problem with them is that they find it difficult to understand the concepts of ethics. Third type of student, neither they are able to understand the concept properly and neither they are able to write the answer properly. Okay, and fourth type of student, they are good in both aspects, that is understanding the concept as well as writing the answer. Okay, so our approach will be focused on basically 3 aspects. Okay, first what we will do, we will take any theme, we will frame that theme in form of question and we will understand the concept and answer. Okay, but one thing you should remember, that ethics first with UPSC, okay, in this lecture, in ethics lecture, especially in last 10 to 15 lectures, you will find that I am going into lots of depth as when we will read some thinkers. Okay, so first understand this, not only UPSC, after the moment you introduced ethics, integrity and aptitude in your GS paper, it was only a matter of time when other state PCS started following the UPSC. So first UP PCS introduced it in its syllabus. After that Rajasthan PCS introduced and Madhya Pradesh PCS have also this paper. This theme is there. It is very small but still there. So when you analyze paper of these PCS, you will find that in ethics question, actually, if you see their question, many times what will happen, they are going and asking questions from depth. But when you consider UPSC is not that much going into depth. For example, let's say any quote is coming. Let's say quote is coming. Quote is even given by Immanuel Kant, the famous German thinker or philosopher. So when this question will come in UPSC, UPSC will simply give the quote. It will not write the name of the thinker with it. Okay? But in PCS exam, either it is UP PCS or it is Rajasthan PCS or even it is Madhya Pradesh PCS, directly they will ask who has given this quote. Okay? Even book name they are asking. Even book name they are asking. Okay? In Madhya Pradesh PCS, in ethics question, it was directly asked to name 2 books written by Immanuel Kant. Okay, so whenever I am going in depth, so those students who are preparing for UPSC, you don't need to feel nervous. You can skip that lecture anyway. Question wise, I am going to tell you which is important for PCS especially. Okay, so last 10 to 15 lectures, they are going to be somewhat in depth. Okay, so before starting today's lecture, let us overview the aspects which we will cover today. So what is the name of this paper? The name is in UPSC Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. Okay, Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. This is the name of paper. GS 4. So first we should know what is ethics, what is integrity and what is aptitude, and how UPSC is combining all 3 aspects and what UPSC is searching in you. What UPSC is searching in students. Okay, so the first aspect today which we are going to see is what is ethics. Okay. One more thing, since these are initial lectures, so it is very obvious that the questions or the themes which I will take, they are going to be very simple, because many of you people are simply starters. Okay, you are going to give first attempt just next year. Okay, so I will take you from 0 level to top level. So that's why शुरू के जो क्वेश्चन होंगे they will be very simple. Okay, the second aspect which we are going to cover today is integrity. What is integrity? What is integrity? The third aspect which we are going to see today is obviously what is aptitude. What is aptitude? Okay. After that, by using Venn diagram, okay, in ethics presentation aspect is also very important. Okay, so especially in UPPCS and UPSC, since you need to present your answer in 200 to 150 words, so you should also know the art of presentation. Okay, that art itself you will find in my lecture, right? After that, okay, with the help of Venn diagram, we will try to see what is the relation between these things and what UPSC is trying to achieve with this paper. Okay, the fourth aspect which we are going to cover today is what? Ethics is objective or it is subjective. Okay, and what is objective and subjective? When we are exploring this point, you will be able to get idea very clearly whether ethics objective or subjective. Okay, this is going to be our fourth aspect. Okay, the fifth aspect which we are going to cover today is, the fifth aspect is what are different approaches to study ethics. Or you can also reframe this and you can say what are different dimensions of ethics. Okay, so different approaches or dimensions of what? Ethics. Okay, and the last aspect which we are going to see today is the relation between, this is going to be our what? Sixth aspect, relation between ethics and morality. Hana? Usually you will find people, they will use these both words and they think that they are same. No, they are not same, they are different. How they are different we will see when we will elaborate this option. Ethics versus morality. Okay? So the first aspect we are going to see today is what is ethics. Second aspect which we are going to see today is what is integrity. Third aspect which we are going to see today is what is aptitude. Fourth aspect which we are going to see today is whether ethics is objective or subjective. What is objective? What is subjective? We will see. Okay. Fifth aspect which we are going to see today is what are different approaches or dimensions of ethics. And the last aspect which we are going to see today is what is relation between ethics and morality. Are they same or they are different? Okay. So let's start the first aspect, that is what is ethics. Okay. So ethics, the word itself originated from, okay, E-T-H-I-C-S, the word itself originated from a Greek word. And the Greek word from which it originated is ethos, E-T-H-O-S. This later on became ethics in English language. And what is the meaning of ethos? Ethos means custom, habit, or tradition. Character, tradition. Okay? Anyway, custom and tradition means same thing. Okay? So understand now. Now you need to focus properly. Okay? So there will be some principles that you will develop from your habit, from your tradition, from your character. Let's say when you are small in your family, your father and mother always say you need to respect the elders. You need to become honest because honesty is very good in your life. Okay. So one principle you learned, okay, one principle you learned, that is honesty. Okay. From where you learned? From ethos. Which ethos? The ethos of your family, the ethos of your culture, the ethos of your character. See, this honesty will slowly will go into your character and you will be honest person. Okay. So what is ethics? Ethics is a set of principle or moral principle. From where this principle came? From ethos principle came. Okay? From your custom. Okay? These principle, okay, these principle which guide you in deciding what is right and what is wrong. Principles which guides you in deciding what is right and what is wrong. Okay? Let's take same example that from your ethos you learned that one needs to be honest in his life. Honesty is the principle which you studied or you learned during socialization process in your family. Now let's say in exam hall, in 12th exam in your school, okay, in your exam hall you find that your paper is very tough and you are struggling to even pass the paper, okay. But what happened incidentally, the invigilator is very loose and he is simply sleeping, okay, and the person who is sitting just behind you or in front of you is also a very good friend of yours, and he is saying please copy all answers from my copy so that you can pass. But what you are saying? No, I will not do that. So what you are following? You are following the ethical principle. That ethical principle is honesty. From where you got that principle? From your ethos. And ethos is what? Habit, character, custom. Okay? So from here, some principles you learned which is helping you in taking decision. Because in examination hall, you yourself made decision that I should not do cheating because it is against the honesty. Okay? So what is ethics? Simply moral principles, okay, which guide you in deciding what is right and what is wrong, okay. And obviously if it is helping in making decision, obviously this is related to what? This is related to conduct of human or human conduct. So ethics relates to what? Human conduct, right? Very simple. Hana? See, in ethics, main problem with student is that often they get confused, but that you should not do. Hana? You should not get confused. Conceptual clarity should be there with you, because the moment you are having this conceptual clarity, you will be able to apply the examples which you study daily in newspaper, which you watch in television, which you often find in discussion. Everything you can apply here. Just one aspect you need to do, be very clear in concepts. Okay, so this is what is ethics. Now let's move and see the next aspect, and the next aspect is what? The word which is next in syllabus, that is what is integrity. Okay, so when we talk about integrity, first simply write the definition. Okay, standard definition. You can write this. After writing, we will understand. Okay, to behave ethically, and doing the right thing even behind the door. Even behind the door. Or you can say alignment of your thought, word and behavior. Alignment of your thought, word and behavior. When we will study Buddha, Gautam Buddha, we will see how Gautam Buddha focuses on integrity. Okay? Or you can say absence of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Let's take one example for understanding the concept of integrity. Okay, now when you are preparing for civil service exam, you are having many friends. Some friends may be saying we should not take dowry. dowry system is very bad. It is a social problem. We should stay away from this. But what happens when some people got selected? The first thing they want is dowry. Okay? They don't try to argue with their parents that we should not take dowry, that is not good thing. So they think what? Dowry is bad. Okay? They also argue with people and tell them dowry is bad. But when it comes to behaving what they think and what they say, that is different. Alignment is not there. So that person is not having integrity. Okay? Now let's say some person is there, same example, and he talks much about dowry. Okay? He thinks about that, he talks about that. But in real life, his behavior is very ethical. Okay? He has not taken even 1 rupees dowry. Then is he integral? No. Is he following integrity principle? No. Because there is no alignment between thought, word and behavior of that person. Okay? Integrity is when you are behaving rightly, ethically, even if no one is watching. You think that dowry is not good, you also preach in your friends, and you also follow that when you are married. That is integrity, and that you should do. Okay? And UPSC is actually looking for those aspirants whose thought, words and behavior have alignment. Because when administrator have alignment between thought, word and behavior, in decision making, he will be very, very much effective. For example, let's say you are posted as a supervisor in social welfare department. You are in charge of pension. Okay. So one day what happened? One old lady came. Okay. One old lady came and she told she is very poor, but the pension which was for these kind of people, she is unable to get. When you check that, you find that the condition of that lady is really very poor. But some paperwork issue is there. Now what you will do? Just think. I am not going to give you answer. You need to think. This is ethics. The person who is having integrity will obviously take some very good decision in these dilemma. In these situations, so UPSC is looking for these kind of people, having ethics, having integrity. Okay? Now let's take another example, different example. When you join government service, that is group A, you obviously get Ciaz, Maruti Suzuki Ciaz as your vehicle, or sometimes even you will get Innova. Okay? That is for official government work. Right? Now, many people you see around, when you are in government service, they are using this Ciaz, Innova, that is government vehicle for everything. And everyone is saying, it doesn't matter, you should also follow that. Your brother is coming, you need to pick your brother from station, use Ciaz. Your sister is coming, use Innova. You want to buy vegetable for daily needs, go with Ciaz. Is this integrity? No. Okay? So these are very, very basic examples which you need to argue when you are writing this paper in UPPSC, UPSC, Madhya Pradesh PCS, or even in that case Rajasthan PCS. You should understand the basic examples and the basic concept which are very simple. You don't need to think in a very complex situation. Okay? All are easy, just focus on understanding the concept. So obviously if there is alignment between your thought, your word and behavior, it means hypocrisy is not there in your character, in your personality. Sorry. Okay. So what is not there? Hypocrisy is not there. What is hypocrisy? Simply, some people, some friends you have seen, this hypocrisy is a very much you will find in people's personality. But when it relates to government, then it is a big problem. Let's assume some person is there, any administrative officer is there, and he always talks about, he always talks about division between religion. So it is very obvious that his behavior will be also like that only in government office, where you need to follow what? Equality. What you need to follow? Equality. So being follower of integrity is a good phenomena. You should be integral in your life, and many times you people have also done. Like you may have eaten in a hotel and after some time you simply went, because it was not your mistake, you simply in your mind you forget to pay. Then when you got that when you remembered, you came back and paid that. So that is integrity. Many people, who are watching this lecture, they may have done. I have also done, you may have also done. This is very common phenomena. Okay, so this is second aspect. Now we will move to third aspect and we will see what is aptitude. Okay, just like integrity, first understand the aptitude. Okay, in one word, aptitude means competence. It means competence. Competence of what? Competence to do certain kind of work. Competence to do certain kind of work. Okay? You may have heard that some people are outstanding. Some people are talented, such as Sachin Tendulkar in cricket. Why? Because he is having the competence to play with bat that is very, very good. Okay? Aptitude is simply competence. And when we say competence, it simply means what? Ability to solve or problem solving tendency. Just write problem solving tendency. With Sachin Tendulkar, lots of people may have practiced with Sachin Tendulkar. Even people may have worked more harder than Sachin Tendulkar. Lata Mangeshkar is a very famous musical career. She has very good musical career. Okay, so she is having aptitude of singing very good. Okay, so we argue that the aptitude of music in Lata Mangeshkar ji is very good. Okay, and why aptitude is important in government service? Why? Because in government service you will find this aspect very much, conflict. Okay, suppose you are district magistrate, or let's say you are superintendent of police. Now two groups are fighting between each other. So what will happen? Many times you need to go there and do conflict resolution. For that, what you need? You need ethics, you need integrity. But the first as primary thing which you need is aptitude. You should have competence to solve various conflicts which undergoes with or between various stakeholders in government or in society. Okay? So simple. है ना. Okay, just write example. Sachin Tendulkar, है ना, Lata Mangeshkar in music. And often, not always, often aptitude is what? Inborn. Often this is inborn. It doesn't mean one can't learn or one can be trained for increasing competency. Obviously, with help of training, you can train someone and increase the competency. What is this? I am teaching you ethics for what? For increasing your competency so that you can crack either PCS exam or IS exam, so that you can become IS officer, IPS officer, SDM, DSPs, income tax officers in either in central government or in state government. Right? So what I am doing? I am simply training you. So aptitude can be developed by training, but often, not always, this is inborn. Okay? Now this was the third aspect. Now simply think, the paper name is Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. Okay? Paper name is what? Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. Okay? Now we will use Venn diagram. Just let us assume this is ethics. Right? This is what? Ethics. This is integrity. And this is what? Aptitude. Okay, this is ethics, that is integrity, and third one is aptitude. Now what UPSC wants? What type of administrative officers it wants? UPSC want this. This. The person, the human resource which UPSC is looking for should have ethics. Their ethos should be very strong. Okay? And the principle which they have learned from this ethos, they should follow it in their human conduct, in their day-to-day life. And not only that, all these people should also have very good competence in their field. That's why you have papers such as optional, GS1, GS2, GS3, essay. What? These are testing what? These are testing your aptitude, your competence. And this aspect, ethics and integrity, is tested by GS4. From here, you can conclude one more thing. What is that? Examples which you need to use in GS4, you can very easily, you can use from GS1, 2 and 3. Very easily. Okay? So whatever you are studying in GS1 to 3, you can use example, same example in GS4. It is very simple. Okay? So should I move or should I stop? Let's move. I hope you have written this. If you have not written this, what you can do? Simply pause the video and you can write that. Okay? And let's move to another aspect, that is whether ethics is objective or subjective. See, question is, just write question language first. I have written ethics objective or subjective, but you should write this in a question form. What is that question? Whether ethics is objective or subjective. Okay? Please write this question. whether ethics is objective or subjective. Okay, now let us understand this. So for this, you should know what is objective and what is subjective. Okay, in terms of ethics we will discuss. Okay, not in terms of maths, in terms of ethics. So those type of principles, and from where principles came? From ethos came. And what these principles do? They guide you in taking decision what is good and what is bad, right? So on those principles on which by and large people agree, those ethics or those principles are called objective ethics. On whom by and large agreement is there. Okay, for example, let's say one ethical principle is nationalism. Everyone in your school, in your society, in your friend circle, in bureaucracy, in politics, in business, wherever you go, all says nationalism is a good ethical principle which should be followed by everyone. Okay? So this principle is objective. Why? Because hardly any difference is there. Similarly, another principle is hard work. From when we are starting our school, every time, everywhere it is said that for becoming successful, you should do hard work. Okay? There is no shortcut for success, or you should not go for shortcut, you should go for hard work. So what is hard work? Objective ethics. Why? Because by and large everyone agrees on that. See, by and large, it doesn't mean all 100% people agree. Some may be there who may not agree. But by and large, you will find that people agrees on that. They are not very much divided. Okay? So this is first aspect. Now let's see what is subjective ethics. Okay? What is subjective ethics? I am going to clean that. Okay? I hope you have written this. If you have not written, what you can simply do, just pause the video and write. Okay, objective ethics we understood. Now let's understand subjective ethics. So what is subjective ethics? Those ethical principles on which there is a division between people, on those principles on which by and large people have different opinions. Okay? Person to person it differs. The best example is what? Caste system. If you meet people who are general, if you meet people who are ST and SC, and if you will meet people who are from OBC background, you may find that the person who is coming from this category may support the caste system. The person who is coming from SC, ST background is opposing the caste system. The person who is coming from OBC background is opposing the caste system. Why? Because due to their socialization process, because the situations in which they faced in socializing process. Okay? So this is a very good example of subjective ethics. Okay? Let's take another example of LGBT issue. In rural areas, many people are there. highly conservative people, the moment you tell LGBT, what they will tell? इनको तो गोली मार दे जानी चाहिए. मतलब these people should deserve what? We should kill them. These are non-natural people. But the moment you go into urban area, you will find some support on this issue, LGBT issue. So, the opinion of person differs on these principles. Actually, these principles differ from person to person. Okay? From person to person. By and large, people are not in agreement. Usually, they are divided. Such type of ethics is called as subjective ethics. And what was that objective ethiks? Those ethics on which by and large people are in agreement. Right? Very easy. Anna? Also, I gave 2-3 examples that are very easy. Anna, whenever question is coming on that, you can write these examples. Okay? For substantiating your answer. Okay? Now let's move to the next question. Okay, what are various dimensions of ethics or approaches? You can also write approaches. Okay, what are different approaches to study ethics? This question is very important for PSC. Okay. For PCS exam, this question is very important because this question can come directly in this form only. What are various approaches to study ethics, or what are various dimensions of ethics? Okay. So first, when we say approaches of ethics, actually we follow 4 major approaches formally. The first approach is known as meta-ethics. First one is known as meta-ethics, the first approach for studying ethics. Second approach is known as normative ethics. And this approach is very important, especially in UPSC. UPSC is very much interested in this aspect, that is normative ethics. It is also known as prescriptive ethics. Another name for this is prescriptive ethics, right? And the third approach is known as applied ethics. Okay? And fourth aspect is known as comparative or descriptive ethics. Better word is descriptive ethics. Okay? Now we will see one by one, we will understand what is the meaning of this various type of ethics. We will simply understand the concept. So try to focus. Meta ethics, the moment you understand the meaning of meta, you will understand what type of approach we follow in this type of ethics. What is meaning of meta? Meta means beyond this world. Okay? Those aspects which we study, those aspects which are beyond this world, they are studied under meta ethics. For example, what is soul? What is God? Whether God is there? If He is there, then in what form? Is God visible? Is God not visible? How many gods are there? If we die, where does soul go? Is soul liquid form, solid form, or whether it is in vapor form or semi-liquid form? These type of questions, from where soul originated, where we will go after dying, these type of questions we study in meta-ethics. वेरी सिंपल है ना. नाउ लेट्स मूव टू डिस्क्रिप्टिव एथिक्स है ना. बिकॉज when we talk about UPSC, actually UPSC is interested in these two aspects very much. Case studies, the case studies which are coming in UPSC, actually they are from applied ethics or this normative ethics. So both are very important. Okay, descriptive ethics we will study in a very brief form. What is this descriptive ethics? Okay, see, descriptive ethics simply studies about various different culture, tradition, marriage, society, but it does not take any judgment. Okay, that's why it is also known as comparative ethics. Okay, that's why it is also known as what? Comparative ethics. Just remember this aspect. It simply studies various tradition, but it does not judge. Always remember this, especially those people who are giving PCS exam. है ना. Descriptive ethics simply studies various cultures, tradition, art, society, marriage, kingship, and simply compare with each other. But it don't take any decision. Okay, simple. Now we will move to normative ethics or prescriptive ethics. Okay, actually this type of ethics, that is normative ethics, studies what? Normative ethics studies basically their focus is on human conduct. They focuses on human conduct. For example, just take one very good example. Let's say one doctor is there, okay, and one very serious patient came in the clinic. Okay, doctor saw that patient is injured, but he came to know that actually he went for killing someone. Due to killing, one firing came and injured this patient very seriously. So whether this doctor should treat or not? Okay, is it ethical to treat this patient? This type of questions are covered in normative ethics, and UPSC's case studies are very famous and based on this aspect only. So normative ethics, further they are divided into 3 parts. Okay, and all 3 parts are very famous. And in our lecture, not today, but in coming lecture, we are going to focus on each one separately. Okay, so the first aspect we study, that is virtue ethics. And virtue means character. So this type of ethics focuses on character. Plato, Socrates, okay, they come in virtue ethics. Just write Plato. Okay. Anyway, we are going to focus one complete lecture we are going to give individually to each of them. The second type is consequentialism. Okay, the second type is consequentialism, and they focus on the result of the act. So focus on result of the human action. Okay, and the third one is known as deontological. Deontological, just remember one famous line: duty for the sake of duty. where it is written. Where it is written. You need to do your duty. Don't worry for result. Where it is said? In Mahabharata, in Gita. Okay? So, write here Gita. Or Immanuel Kant, the famous German philosopher, belongs to deontological school of thought. So anyway, these are simply just we are understanding. We have dedicated one complete lecture on each of them. So don't worry. In further lecture, I am going to elaborate on all aspects. Okay. So this was about normative ethics, also known as prescriptive ethics. Okay. Now only one ethics remained, that is called what? Applied ethics. And what is the meaning of applied? Applied ethics. Okay? Simply application of ethics to solve practical problems. Application of ethics to solve what? Practical problems. Okay, that is called what? Applied ethics. Okay, here we search correct method to solve the dilemmas, solve the issues, especially which are in conflict. Okay, for example, let's say one very good example is euthanasia. Very good example. Next one is LGBT. And always remember this thing, any issue which should come under applied ethics, it should fulfill two conditions. Then only we can study that issue into applied ethics, and this is very, very important because it is high chance that directly those two conditions can come in your PCS exam. Anna? Where it can come? It can come in your PCS exam. So what are those conditions? Two conditions are there for becoming or for considering that issue as a part of applied ethics. First, it should be a moral issue or ethical issue. It should be a moral or ethical issue. It should not be social issue. Okay? And the second one is that group of people or people should be, they should have for and against opinion on this aspect. For and against opinion. Okay, for example, I told you about euthanasia. Euthanasia is social issue? No. Is it ethical issue? Yes. Is it moral issue? Yes. People are divided in their opinion on this? Yes. Then we can study it in applied ethics because these two conditions are fulfilling. Easy? Very easy to understand. Okay. Now let's move to the last aspect of today's lecture, that is what is relation between ethics and morality. What is relation between ethics and morality? Just write this in form of question because I am going to take tabular approach. Okay, I am going to take one table. So here I am writing ethics and here I am writing what? Morality. Okay. Now Are they same or are they different? So first we should know how they originated. Okay? So ethics originated from, I told you, ethos. And what does it mean? Ethos means what? Ethos means tradition, custom, habit. Ethos means what? Tradition, custom, habit. Okay? And morality originated from where? Moralitas. And moralitas means what? Behavior. So, from the meaning itself, you can argue what? From the meaning itself, you can argue that morality is related to internal aspect of human conduct or behavior. So, here what we can say, it is internal. Because it is related to your behavior. Okay, these are not some principles which you need to follow. Okay, they are what? They are ethics. They are external, which impact your behavior. They are external. For example, let's take same example. The doctor is there and one patient came, and doctor got to know that that patient actually got injured during killing of some another person, and he has already killed that person. Okay? In fighting, he also seriously got injured. So what happened? Now this doctor, from inside, he don't want to treat the patient. But his medical ethics says that he should treat every patient. So morality is against treatment, but ethics is for treatment. Why? Because morality is more of a internal behavior, individual internal behavior. Okay? Third aspect. Third aspect is that ethics is more consistent because it usually comes from society. It is more rigid or consistent. But as compared to ethics, morality can change. Morality can change situation to situation. So flexible. Okay, morality is flexible. It is not that much rigid as compared to ethics. Okay? And the last one is, if you are not following ethical principle, you can be boycotted. For example, let's say 3 brothers are there, all are married. Okay? So one day what happened? One of brother has physical assaulted his wife. So it may be possible, due to his conduct, all other family members may stop talking to that person who has physically assaulted his wife. So what they are doing? They are giving punishment. So punishment can be given for not following ethics. But no such provision exists when it comes to what? Morality. Okay? No such provision is there. Okay? And the last example I will give you where both ethics and morality is working. For example, let's say a small children is there. His ethics say he has learned that we should respect elder. So he is respecting the elder, but his internal behavior is his internal individual behavior also thinks that we should respect the elders. So whenever elder is coming, he will go and touch their feet. So in this case, both ethics as well as morality is working together. Okay, I think around 1 hour completed. So this was second lecture. In third lecture, we will explore more about this ethics, how ethics is important in public relationship, private relationship, and some other aspect. Okay, I hope that you understood the all concepts I have covered today. Even if you are having any problem, you can simply mail me, or you can simply arrange one mentorship call. We will talk one-to-one. Thank you for watching this lecture.